As we continue our study into the everlasting covenant, one of the things that's so important to notice, this is not just a prophecy that God gave to Abraham, Isaac, Jacob thousands of years ago. It is a living promise, meaning that anyone who breaks it, who abridges it, who tries to keep it from coming to pass, will in effect bring a curse upon himself. And it does not matter how mighty the nation is, how much power it has, when it goes against what God said to the Jewish people about their homeland, they will pay a price. You cannot help but suffer. On the other hand, any nation that blesses Israel will be itself blessed. And God said to Abraham in Genesis 12:3, I will bless him who blesses you. I will curse him who curses you. So it's important to pay attention to these things. Two entities have been the worst in oppressing Israel over the last 50 years. They would be the nation of Syria to Israel's north, the only one of the nations around Israel who did not come to some kind of a peace treaty with Israel. They haven't done it. And Hezbollah, it's a terror group made up of radical Shia Muslims who are closely related to the Iranian mullahs, and they also have opposed the existence of Israel more than any of Israel's other neighbors. Now, Egypt was once Israel's greatest enemy, but they lost 4 wars. They lost territory. And every time that they attacked Israel, it went backwards for them. They did not do well. And so they signed a peace treaty with Israel in 1978. Jordan and Israel signed the Wadi Araba Treaty in 1994. They're to the east of Israel, Egypt to the south. Lebanon has a weak government, and it is plagued by the presence of Hezbollah in its country. Hezbollah has continually shot rockets against the cities and villages of northern Israel, and they have been funded and armed by Iran since the early 1980s. Lebanon has defaulted, really, and I'm sure there are many Lebanese who do not want them there, but they're not powerful enough to get rid of them. The al-Assad family in Syria began rule there with an iron fist in 1971. Hafez al-Assad, a very brutal Syrian dictator. He ruled with an iron fist. There was a police state, secret police. Anybody who criticized the ruling family or government policy was in danger of being killed. Under the Assads, they maintained close ties with Russia. Russia saw Syria as a client state. They wanted to invest in Syria. They saw the United States with a relationship with Israel. They determined to counter that by supporting Syria. Now, Syria had a territory that bordered Israel on the east of the Sea of Galilee. It is called the Golan Heights. If you are in Israel and if you're anywhere near the Sea of Galilee, you can see high ground off to the east. That would be the Golan. And Syria had that territory up until 1967. They used it to military advantage because they could see below them, and they had huge artillery batteries all over the Golan, and they were able to shell houses, villages, basically bring life to a standstill in the Galilee because of their positions in the Golan. Israel went to war against Syria in 1967, and they conquered the Golan Heights and held it. It's a high plateau, and Israel has had it ever since. Syria continued to arm itself to the teeth with Russian tanks, with jet fighters. It was a military threat Israel could not ignore. I was there myself in 1988, 89, listened to a general from the IDF who was in charge of the northern defense of Israel, and you could hear the tension in his voice. Syria was an ongoing threat. They paid attention to everything that happened to them in the north because of the threats of Syria. They have no choice because of the small size of Israel. It's only about 50 miles wide and about 250 miles long. So if an enemy were able to hit you hard and gain any kind of advance within your territory, it wouldn't be long before they could cut your nation in half and separate the north from the south. It would be a devastating blow. And Syria also was known to have used chemical and biological weapons over 300 times, not against the Jews, against their own people. And so this is another big concern for Israel. They also maintained a close relationship with Iran, allowing weapons to flow through Syrian territory to the Hezbollah terrorists in Lebanon. But in 2011, the effect of the everlasting covenant's curse finally hit Syria. It became engulfed in a bitter civil war that eventually resulted in the overthrow of the al-Assad family. This time it's the son, Bashar al-Assad, 2024. He had to flee the country. But the tragedy is this war resulted in almost 750,000 deaths, and 13 million Syrian people have been displaced because of this war. Many of them have fled to Europe. For its unending hatred of Israel, Syria has suffered greatly for its disdain of the everlasting covenant. Listen to the everlasting covenant again, Genesis 12:3. I will bless them that bless you, curse him who curses you, and in thee shall all the families of the earth be blessed. Now, the end of this curse hasn't yet come on Syria. Isaiah prophesies in chapter 17, verse 1, the burden of Damascus. Behold, Damascus is taken away from being a city, and it shall be a ruinous heap. Now, Damascus has been conquered numerous times. It's never been completely wiped off the face of the earth. Isaiah 17 says Damascus will be wiped off the face of the earth. It hadn't happened yet. It's a coming event, one that could transpire sometime in the near future. I don't know when it comes. There's a lot of conjecture about it coming, that it could come any day now. I'm not sure about that, but I do know it is a coming event, which tells me then that the nation of Syria will not be a great partner of peace with the nation of Israel. Don't think that's going to happen. Hezbollah has already felt the curse of the everlasting covenant. The Hezbollah, the name means party of God, and they're talking about God Allah. And on September 17th and 18th, 2024, after shooting hundreds of rockets over into northern Israel and basically depopulating the north. People from Israel in the north had to leave. They couldn't live in their homes. It was a great financial burden on them. They had to go to the southern part of the country because the rockets were coming over every day. But Hezbollah had thousands of handheld pagers and hundreds of walkie-talkies. Their leader insisted that they use them because he was convinced the Israelis had compromised their cell phones. And what happened is these walkie-talkies and pagers were filled with explosives. They didn't know that. And somehow the Israelis were able to get into the manufacturer of those devices, fill them with enough plastic explosive to cause great harm. It took out 1,500 Hezbollah fighters. They were injured or killed. A radio signal activated these devices, and they all blew up. And it actually also was responsible for killing Iran's ambassador to Lebanon. The leader of Hezbollah, Hassan Nasrallah, had earlier instructed his members to use these pagers, and not realizing he was causing their own demise. He became one of the most influential leaders in the Middle East after he became leader of Hezbollah in 1992, but his platform was utter hatred of Israel. We will never treat with them. We will never have peace with them. We are determined to wipe them off the face of the earth. Well, how did that work for you, Nasrallah? He stayed hidden from public view, but didn't help him, because he was killed by a bunker buster bomb on September the 27th, 2024, along with more than 20 of his top advisors. His stronghold was 60 feet under the ground, and the Israeli bombs still got him. So, this instability in Lebanon by the presence of Hezbollah, and they're still doing it, still shooting rockets, it is going to cause the Israelis to fulfill a prophecy that's found in Obadiah 20. Here it is. And the captivity of this host of the children of Israel shall possess that of the Canaanites, even unto Zarephath. Zarephath was a town or a village north of the Litani River. It's the longest river in Lebanon. And many people agreed that the natural barrier between Lebanon and Israel is the Litani. It is the geographical feature that's most prominent there. And we will see this territory being taken over by Israel as a buffer zone to keep their cities from being bombed. And a lot of people think that's just a greedy land grab. Well, what would happen if Mexico suddenly began to bomb Tucson and began to bomb El Paso and began to bomb Laredo? If San Diego was bombed continually by terror groups across the border in Mexico, how long do you think Americans would be satisfied with no retaliation from our government? Even people who don't normally support dealing with these things forcefully would begin to cry out, somebody do something. All it would take is for one of these bombs to kill your kids. And everybody in Israel, left and right, they are in support of stopping this bombing in the north. It has to be done. And so Israel is going to do what it takes, and in order to do this, they're going to fulfill the prophecy of Obadiah 20. They're going to move in and take possession of the land all the way to the Litani River. Ladies and gentlemen, fighting against the everlasting covenant is a fool's errand. Don't let anybody deceive you or make you to believe that the Israelis are the bad guys, that they are taking land that doesn't belong to them. God said he made a promise to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob to give them this land forever, and he intends to keep it.